when you consume essential amino acids and they get to a really high peak concentration in your blood, so let's just say I eat some beef and I digest it, and in it I get some essential amino acids and they go into my blood, that is what tells my body that it's safe and good to break down older, defunct proteins and rebuild them with new ones.
If you've been struggling to build muscle or feel like your workouts aren't giving you the results that you're used to, you are not alone. Most people don't realize that as we age, our bodies become increasingly resistant to protein, meaning that steak or a protein shake just isn't working like it did in your 20s. Today, I'm talking to Angelo, the founder of Kion Supplements, who's going to break down why essential amino acids are more powerful than whey protein at building lean muscle. We're also going to dive into how creatine can rescue your focus on those low sleep days and why the order you take these supplements will actually matter. This is not your typical eat more protein advice. It definitely is not. Angelo is going to show you exactly how to work with your body's ever-changing needs. All right, Angelo, founder of Kion, one of my favorite supplement companies across the board. I get a box every month and I use everything in that box. I just put up a picture showing how amazing your company is. But before we get into interviewing with you, I got rapid fire questions. Are you ready for this?
Let's go.
Okay. Should women be taking creatine?
It depends on your age and what else you're doing and how much money you have.
Okay. Does creatine bloat you?
No.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. Does conventional cow-fed, non-grass-fed whey create disruption in the gut?
I think it would depend probably on the quality of it and how it's filtered, etc. But I don't take it because I do have that kind of concern about all dairy that's conventional.
Mm-hmm. If someone's really, really wants to put on lean muscle, and that's like a huge goal of theirs, order of importance: protein, creatine, or aminos?
Aminos.
Aminos number one.
For lean muscle specifically? Yeah.
Okay. How about for recovery? Grass-fed protein, aminos, or creatine?
I think it would depend on what the rest of your diet is, but it's either aminos or it's protein. I'd go with aminos again.
Hell yeah. All right. We're going to go into this conversation, man.
I just wanted to say creatine's awesome. So I feel like the questions that came up, that you didn't ask one that said why creatine's dope.
We're going into creatine.
Okay. So it's
I'm reserved the whole segment for creatine. I take it every day, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, you guys offer fantastic supplements. And remember when we first met, I was like asking about quality and we were talking about certificates of analysis, going into it, reading it. And I was so happy and pleasantly surprised that, like, you guys are super high, transparent, clean company. That's lacking in the industry. And you've been in this industry for quite a bit now. Do you see what I see? That a lot of companies are cutting corners to come out with quality products?
Yeah, it's easy to cut corners. Consumers don't really know. And you can say whatever you want to say in marketing. And it's not, what's concerning is that there are a lot of supplement companies that are super disingenuous. They make claims about what their product does, and they're like manipulating the science. It doesn't really do that. They're saying it's really clean, but then they don't actually do third-party testing. So you don't know if it is. Like if you don't get someone other than the manufacturer to test it for you, like you don't know. Like you got to go take that extra step. And yeah, I think there's just there's just a lot of financial incentive to not care. And it's tough, man. If you take on someone else's money, I feel really blessed. Well, I don't know if it's blessed or, I mean, I made the choice to build a company. And there's others that do this as well, where you don't take on money from like private equity or some outside financial group, because they're always going to be pressuring you to get a better return on their money. If you don't have outside investors like that and you just bootstrap it and do it on your own and, have equity with your employees and like the people that are actually doing it, then everyone's more incentivized to actually do it right. And you don't have some outside stakeholder that's pushing you to just make more money.
Mm-hmm. Your family raised you in a health space already. You were telling me that you grew up in the health and wellness world from early on. That's sort of a unique situation. A lot of us don't grow up in families who actually like know about health and wellness. When you were going through this journey of starting a full-fledged supplement company and a successful one, what was the moment where you go, okay, like, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a health coach. I want to go into I want to take the business side of this world that I grew up in.
That's a cool question. I don't know that it happened in I made a decision one day. It's more an evolution of like my whole experience. And it didn't happen until I was in my early 30s. So I did a bunch of other stuff first and thought I wanted to be a bunch of other things first. And I think though, like the moment when it actually came together and that's the decision I made, it was because I had actually had other experience as like being a businessman in other contexts and trying to make things happen. So it's kind of hard to answer it without like, I don't know, tracing more of my story, right? Like what led to A to B to C to D. And in that way, it's like you can kind of start to uncover it. But I don't know, man, that's kind of a longer,
But
a longer track.
do you feel you're in your purpose?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my life. You know, I was just telling you right before we started that I started working with this new MD. It was kind of like an optimized nutrition MD, and I did an intake form with it. And they ask you all these questions like, where do you rank, you know, your emotional health, your mental health? And I noticed, man, like my emotional and mental, I was saying nine, like that. All that stuff was super, super high. Everything was pretty high. Everything was like 8 or 9. But yeah, man, I think I feel really just like connected to what I'm doing, what my life is. I'm in the right place, doing the right stuff.
I love that, man. Before we go into, because you're well-read, you love the science behind all this. And I want the audience to know, like, it's in my pantry right now. These are the things that I take every day. And we want to share all about it. But what does it feel like to be in your purpose? What does it feel like? There's people who are like, I'm not in my purpose, but I would love to be, but I don't know what it feels like. Or how do I find that? What would your advice be for those folks?
So I heard you ask 2 questions. One was, what does it feel like? And what would my advice be?
Yeah.
And I was just talking, with my son, he's a 12-year-old who is both really into music and into basketball. So he's a basketball player and he's a jazz drummer. And both like, you have to practice a lot.
Yeah.
And I was telling about this Miles Davis quote. I might misquote it, but he said something like, sometimes it takes a very long time to play like yourself. And so I think patience, you know, and I had people tell me that like other times in my life, but really like patience with myself to let myself try things, to explore stuff, to figure it out and not have this pressure that like, I have to be there now. I have to figure it out now. I have to be good now. And rather just keep showing up and keep being consistent and keep trying and like keep having the faith. And I think when you do that, then it just unfolds, man.
It just unfolds.
It just unfolds. But the thing is like, we might not be on the same timeline, you know? So it's like, let's say maybe I grew up with someone and like at 23, man, they hit it. Like I could just see it in them. They're like in their flow, like it's happening. And I'm still just like struggling, dude. I'm like, I'm trying all these different things and have all these like weird coping mechanisms. And I'm like, I'm not that functional, you know, like maybe it looks like I am because I'm winning at some things, but I'm like kind of struggling and suffering inside. Maybe I don't hit it till I'm like 35. Maybe it's when I'm 40, you know, and I think rather than trying to like control that, you're patient and you keep showing up and you keep acting with like hope. And I really think it figures itself out.
What's that feeling in the body, the somatic feeling that you're on the right track and you're staying on course for all this to unfold?
Man, what's the feeling?
Yeah,
it's like I'm feeling it right now. Like I like the way I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's I can feel my whole body. So like if I want to check in like on my big toe,
Yeah.
I can feel it. I can feel the back of my knee, feel the top of my head, feel my heart, feel my breath, you know, feel like my skin, feel the temperature of the room.
Yeah.
Like I can just feel it all and I'm here. And when you're asking me questions, I'm not like too preoccupied about what's the next question you're going to ask me. And like, am I scared of it? It's like, I'm just kind of here and I'm here. And I think probably from that, what I just said, like if I trust enough that I'm going to figure it out and it's going to work out, then in each moment, I just keep showing up and trying my best and like being present. So I think like sensationally, I can like feel my whole body. And luckily today I like feel pretty good. Like, I don't know, some days, my back hurts or something. It hasn't recently, but like maybe it's not like always perfect, but like I just feel where I'm at right now.
I feel that you have, to me, it sounds like you have that connection with your body enough to be here and not in your head, just floating away to another past or present, future land where you're in a whirlwind. So that presence for me is like everything because it's that trust I think you named it so well, is that trust. Like, it's going to unfold. You know, I trust my timeline. I trust what I'm doing. I'm just present. I'm showing up present. So for viewers and listeners, this is important information, is like, can you bring more presence to your everyday, no matter what you're doing, and trust that things are going to unfold for you with that intention that's behind it.
I think that's the core of it. I think what you just said is the core of it.
Yeah. I love that, man, because, you know, I'm always curious about the guests, from entrepreneur to like meditation guru. You know, there's always a fabric that drives people, and they seem to be of the same ingredient list, you know, and it has a lot to do with that presence and connection. And I can feel my body, and I trust. So it's just cool to hear you say it.
What I would just name though is like, those people might look really different though.
Yeah.
Like one might be way more assertive and aggressive.
Yeah.
One might be like loud and charismatic. One might be calm and just like listens more. Inside though, they might both be like trusting that that's who they are. Yeah. So it's like, rather than trying to mimic what someone else's outward behavior or appearance or like style of being is, it's like, again, just like trusting your style of being.
Yeah. That authentic expression, right? All right. You love science. You love reading things about science.
I do like reading things about science.
You're a well-read guy.
I like it.
We found that out in our first episode. So I have a lot of questions about a lot of things. On the last episode that you were here, you really highlighted the importance of aminos. And I was taking them pretty consistently, but not every day. But after we spoke, I was like, oh Lord, I need to take these every day. And you were right. I put on like a lot of muscle compared to what was happening before. And I was consistent. I took 1 to 2 scoops every single day. Heavy workouts, 2 scoops. It put on lean muscle. What of amino acids? Are they feeding the muscles? Are they feeding the repair so I can go back to the gym faster? Are they reducing inflammation? What is the special sauce behind the amino acid complex that you have put together?
So we might have covered some of this last time, but just as a quick review, I think we talk about protein some also. So essential, if you take Kion aminos, it's a set of these essential amino acids. You're getting 9. It's all of the essential amino acids. There's 9 of them, which are one part of what you get when you eat protein. So, but I think a good time to take a step back is like, well, like what's protein? How does this work? What's protein in our body? So carbohydrates and fat, the primary reason why we eat those things is for energy. If you eat carbs, that are in rice, or you eat fat that could be in an egg yolk or could be in butter or whatever, the primary way that your body uses that is as energy. It actually converts it into this thing called ATP in your body that allows like your heart to beat and your liver to function, and like all these things just work. An analogy, again, excuse me if I used this last time, but I think it's really helpful for people, so I use it again, is like a house. To run this house that we're in right now, to run these lights, to run the dishwasher downstairs, all these things, if you've got a gas stove, like you need energy coming in. And the way the energy comes in is like you buy it from the grid, or, you know, maybe you get natural gas for your stove. Like maybe you say like the electrical current is like carbs and like natural gas is like fat, and they're both coming in the house, you're running stuff with it. Protein is fundamentally different. That's not why you eat protein. You eat protein to remodel your house, to fix parts of your house that are broken, to literally have a house that functions. And the reason for that is because the way that our bodies work is that we're actually made up of proteins. Over half of our bone mass is protein, all of our vital organs, our muscle, our skin, hair, nails, and things like hormones, like literally your hormones are made of proteins, enzymes, all these things are made of proteins. And the way that it works is similar to a house or any physical thing, right? Like it breaks down over time. It doesn't just like consistently work. After some amount of time, it has to be replaced. So things like muscle tissue, about 2% of the proteins that make up your muscle have to be replaced every single day. They don't work as well as they used to work. Proteins associated with your liver, it's way higher. It's like 30%, which is crazy. It's just like, that's a lot of proteins that have to be replaced every single day. And so what happens is when a protein gets old, whether it's in, you know, associated with your liver or with your muscle or your skin, is it breaks apart. This little, like there's millions of proteins in my skin, in my arm right now. And some of them right now are breaking apart. And when they break apart, there are these little amino acids that are actually the building blocks of the protein. And what happens is some of the older ones you pee out and some of the good ones you keep. So it's similar to like if you're going to remodel your house and maybe you think, oh man, like the bathtub is actually pretty cool. It's like an old clawfoot tub. I'm going to keep that. But like all the tiles really cheesy. You got to rip that out, right? So it's similar. Like some of these amino acids you can keep and some of you get rid of. And that is why you eat protein. So when you eat chicken breast or you eat quinoa or you eat anything that has protein in it, you break down the protein in your digestive system. The amino acids that make up that protein go into your blood and they help you rebuild all of these proteins throughout your body. So big picture, if you don't eat enough protein every single day, you won't have enough of the amino acids that are in that protein in order to rebuild all the proteins for your liver, for your muscle, for your skin, for your hair. And if you don't eat enough of these amino acids from protein or from something else, what happens is there's only one place your body can take amino acids to help the rest of the body, and that's your muscle. You can't just like let your heart tissue not be rebuilt. You got to rebuild it. So what happens is you actually break down muscle tissue to supply amino acids to the blood to help rebuild your heart, rebuild your kidney, rebuild skin, make new hormones, etc. So protein and fundamentally the essential amino acids in protein are crucial for just not just like thriving, but actually for living. So now I talked a lot, but is okay if I transition now to like, so why
shift the gear?
Why essential amino acids? Why, why a formula? Why would we make a formula like we make? Like, how does it all kind of work? So in protein though, and of these amino acids, 9 of them are much more important than the other 11. There's 20 of them, 9 are super important. And the reason they're so important is 1, you have to get them from diet. The 11, your body can actually make them. So if I consume the 9 essential amino acids, my body, the liver and kidneys can actually synthesize and make the other 11. So that's one reason. But the really big reason is that the essential amino acids are not just the building blocks of the new skin. They're not just like the pieces of wood or the pieces of lumber you use to rebuild the house. They're actually the workers. So when you consume essential amino acids and they get to a really high peak concentration in your blood, so let's just say I eat some beef and I digest it and in it I get some essential amino acids and they go into my blood, that is what tells my body that it's safe and good to break down older defunct proteins and rebuild them with new ones. Like that's how it works. So here's a quick comparison. If I eat basically about 12 ounces of steak, this is a lot of steak, as part of a whole balanced meal. I eat that with broccoli, potatoes, etc. It will actually stimulate, meaning it will generate, it'll create, it won't tell my body to make as much new proteins as if I eat half that much steak, but I eat that half that much steak, like 6 ounces on its own. And the reason for that is because when I eat the steak on its own, the amino acids in the steak get into my blood more quickly. The essential amino acids get into my body more quickly. And so there's this bigger kind of like prompting stimulus to do something. You compare that to something like whey protein. Whey protein, because it's even more filtered. I would say refined, but I think refined gets a bad rap here. It's not like it's like you're literally cold filtering out different types of stuff. The amino acids in that protein are even more dense. It stimulates 3 times as much as the beef. Now, if you compare that to essential amino acids that are good profile, and we can get into like what's that profile, because there's lots of brands out there that sell bunk amino acids. Like, I'm not saying we're the only brand, but like it actually really matters. You get the right profile, those essential amino acids as a supplement, and this is again why it's going to be better for building lean muscle, why it's going to be better for recovery, for all these things. Because the whey protein and the beef protein and all these other things, not even talking about plant proteins are even lower in the essential amino acids, but all these animal proteins, they're only about 45% essential amino acid. The essential amino acids, it's 100%. And it's in this ideal formula. So for a young adult, someone in their 20s, those essential amino acids are going to have 3 times the impact as the whey. So that's like 8-9 times the impact as like the steak. So just gives you the picture of the essential amino acids on their own when you take them. And the reason why this is like, they don't have to be digested. You take them, they immediately go into your blood. They immediately tell the body, hey, rebuild old skin. Hey, rebuild these liver proteins. Hey, rebuild muscle tissue. They're so much more potent and powerful than the whole food. And that's not to say like, stop eating whole food. I would say like, eat awesome whole food meals multiple times a day. But if you have these unique goals, like I really want to build lean muscle, or I want to lose 10 pounds of fat, but I really don't want to lose muscle, or maybe I want to lose even more, or I'm aging and I'm finding it's that much harder to put on lean muscle. Just trying to eat more meat is not going to cut it. Definitely not trying to eat more plant protein. It's not going to work to eat. I mean, you're going to eat a bunch more beans and rice to maintain your muscle. And if you don't do these things, we can get more into like weight loss, like you're going to lose muscle as you age. So that's why essential amino acids.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is 4 essential amino acids, literally essential amino acid supplement with the right proportions, better than whey protein, but whey protein better than beef.
Yeah.
But beef better than plant proteins.
Yes. Okay. That's true. That is all. That's a very clear, simple guide.
Clear.
That's but easier than everything I probably said.
No. But you elucidated so much of it, because it's like, there's a lot of people that are like, just eat this to put on muscle. You don't need like a protein drink. Like I hear that a lot, you know? And I'm like, that's not true. You know what I mean?
Well, I also think this is the nuance. Like one of your first questions was like, should women take creatine?
Yeah.
It's like similar. It's like, should women take essential amino acids or protein? Like, how old are you? What are your goals? What are you doing? You know, so I think similarly, someone who's like, you don't need that, just eat this whole food. It's like, that's a pretty not nuanced, lame advice for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you are over 40, that's not, I mean, yeah, you could just, it's going to be a lot harder. If you are trying to lose weight, it's going to be a lot harder. If you're any type of like athlete that's trying to get better at your sport or whatever it is, like it's a lot harder. So, but if you're 25 years old and like moderately healthy and don't really have any ambitions to get healthier and like, no, like, yeah, just eat whole foods.
Yeah.
But
it's such a cool conversation, because I subscribe, yes, eat whole foods. But the nuance here you're saying is you can eat whole foods, but if you have other goals for lean muscle, athletic performance, wherever your age is, there's other things that would help more.
Yeah, they will literally work better, and the science is very clear that they work better.
Listen, anecdotally, I tell you, when I took those aminos consistently, and I still do, combined with the protein, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, you know, I struggled for, most of my adult life to put on muscle. And last year, so when you came and did the podcast, it was like 3 months into my workout journey.
Yeah.
And I was already having trouble putting on much, but then I started consistently doing it. I said, okay, every morning I'm going to have my whey protein drink, and after the workout or before the workout, and if I miss it, even at night, I'm going to take the aminos. And it helps so much. I was like, this is the strongest I've been in a very, very long time. Like maybe early college, which is crazy because last year I turned 40. So, you know, as we get older.
That's pretty awesome, man. If you feel better when you're 40 than you did when you were 30.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I got my dad on it. I got my girlfriend's mother on it, and they're really happy, man. So you spoke about as we get older, right? Because we also have a mature audience. Shout out to the mature audience, right?
Yeah.
How important is protein intake once you're 40 and above?
So what I would say is it really starts at 30 and it just progresses faster once you hit 40. So the core thing that happens is this thing called anabolic resistance. And anabolism just means like growth, like you're adding, the ability to like add new muscle, build new proteins. It decreases as we age. And the reason for that is relatively intuitive. And the thing that's always intuitive is not always the thing that's true, but basically as we get older, right? And you think about like historically, we didn't live past like 50, 50, 60. And so the idea that your body is like, oh, I want to maintain this like super vibrant physical form, like lots of lean muscle, really strong, going out and like hunting, doing things like that. It doesn't. It's just like trying to like survive, right? So it's prioritizing different things. And so the sensitivity to the protein that we eat and the sensitivity to the amino acids in them, and unfortunately, the sensitivity to even resistance training diminishes as we age. So the same person, your dad, when he was 25, from eating a piece of steak and doing some weightlifting is going to be significantly greater than whatever his age is now. If he's in his 70s or whatever. Like you simply like don't get the same response from the protein. You don't get the same response from the resistance training, which is again, is just kind of this like emphasis on people saying like, just eat whole foods or just do da-da-da. It's like, well, man, it doesn't work the same, you know, as you get older. And again, it really starts when you're about 30, but like 40, you'll really start to feel it. And so a couple things. One is you do want to think about eating more protein on a daily basis when you're 40 than when you're 25.
Yeah.
And after that. But the thing is like the diminishing return of the protein as it increases more and more, at some point it's like, man, that's a lot of protein you're going to need to eat in order to overcome that anabolic resistance. And I'll just give you an example of like how this works. So, and this is where formulation of the aminos product really matters. So in multiple studies, we're talking with different age groups, and for NASA, for NIH. Did we talk about the NASA study last time?
No.
Oh, we got to get into that one, man, because that one's like mind blowing for people. But like, if you take the amino acids, you take the 9 essential amino acids, and you could start with something that's basically like the way that they exist in human skeletal muscle, which is like literally if you biopsy your human skeletal muscle, there's going to be a certain amount of tryptophan, methionine, threonine, like there's actual proportions. But then you increase the leucine a lot, like more than double it. And you make it to where the final formula has 40% leucine. And then you also increase the branched chain amino acids. And people who are listening to this, you don't have to like remember everything I'm saying. I'm just giving you the basic overview, right? Like you increase the isoleucine, the valine, the lysine, which all can slow down this protein synthesis, but it's really that super high leucine level. If you give that to older individuals, it will stimulate, before I was saying the EAAs, the amino acids will stimulate 3 times the amount of protein synthesis as the whey. If you give that to older adults, people in their 60s, it stimulates 6 times the amount as the whey. So the reason for that is not because suddenly like the amino acids are way more powerful. It's because the whey becomes less and less and less and less powerful. The whole foods do less for people as they age. So a general rule that I would give people to kind of think about this is if you're 30 and below, essential amino acids will give about a 3 times impact over whey protein gram for gram. 5 grams of aminos will equal 15 grams of whey. At 40, it's about 4 times. 5 grams of aminos will be about 20 grams of whey. At 50, it's about 5 times, 25 grams of whey. And by the time you're 60, it's about 6 times. And really it's going to increase after that as well. I don't know if that's your audience. You're quite that mature. But yeah, that just shows you that it's like at some point, man, you know, like around 40, like, yeah, man, like try to eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight, take some aminos every day, like be working that. But once you hit 50, it's like, man, it's going to be, I would increase your aminos intake and not try to keep increasing your protein intake because you're just going to start eating like
too much.
You're just going to be bloated. Caloric. Yeah, you're going to be full all the time and your appetite decreases as you get older. And it's like, I think the supplementation thing makes more sense the older you get. More supplementation.
Yeah, it seems like, and as we get older, it seems like our appetite goes down over time anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so is it because the leucine is that why that makes it so much more impactful for our muscle health?
For older adults?
For older adults, as we get older.
As we get older.
Is leucine that key?
So this is what I'd say. It's like if you want to get a greater, it's not just, leucine is a key.
Yeah.
What I'd say is, so here's the ranking. Leucine, most important. Then the other 2 branched chain amino acids, isoleucine and valine, and then lysine. Those 4 are going to be very important. They're going to play a really, you need all 9 or it won't work. And you need a certain proportion of those 9, but those 4 play a really important role. And it's because, leucine's like, it depends on what, analogy you want. It's like the quarterback of the team. The lead singer, the super charismatic lead singer of the band, the, lead actress in the movie. It's like the thing's not going to get pulled off without them. They're the catalyst. They're the leader, right? And so if they're that much more captivating and powerful and strong, then the whole thing is going to work together. But you can't make a movie with just Brad Pitt and no cast I mean, you can't,
For some people, like that, but
yeah. So, Yeah, and as we get older, that leucine matters more and more and more.
I understand now. Wonderful. So
I'll just make a quick thing, like in terms of people looking at trying to understand this. I mean, the obvious easy solution is like Kion aminos. I mean, you take them. Obviously, I think it's a good brand, but like if you're really trying to understand this and look around, like don't buy any that are proprietary. Like if someone doesn't tell you the amount of each amino acid that's in it, definitely don't buy it because you cannot trust what the science is. That's another scam too, where it's like people do proprietary blend on say like an amino acid thing. So they don't have to hit the amount that they say of each amino acid. Like if I say there's 2 grams of leucine in this, it has to be tested to say there's that. If it just says proprietary blend, they can mix and change it and change the amount that's in it, et cetera. But also beyond that, you don't know if it's really leucine enriched. And if a brand does that and then they try to make a claim like, oh, it's 6 times the impact of whey, man, it may not be. It may not be anything near it. It might only be 1, it might be 2, it might be 0 if it's depleted in the leucine and it's got a bunch of tryptophan or other stuff. So all these, like all the science I'm quoting, it really matters like that the exact amounts are clear, you know what they are, and they actually match what the science is. It's not just essential amino acids in general. It's, it's these specific proportions we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with everyone, because you guys out there at home, like this is something to really look for, like you said in the beginning, companies do cut corners and you put a proprietary blend and you don't really have to put much of anything, you just cut corners, right? And you just say it's our proprietary muscle building blend.
And maybe for some products, it's okay, man. If it's like, again, I can't speak to every single thing, but it's like some proprietary thing and it's more like a food shake thing and it's like botanicals and things like that. It's like, it's like,
these are
doses do they actually do it? Do the botanicals actually do anything anyway? I mean, it's
these
like,
are doses of aminos that really play.
They really matter. Yeah.
They really matter. Okay. Let's shift to creatine.
Okay, let's do it.
This is hot right now.
Yeah.
So when you came on the show, it was getting hot. Now creatine is hot.
Which is awesome.
Do you see that, first of all, in your company, that more people are buying more creatine? And why the jump in impact of creatine? Why is it in the consciousness? Did I miss something? Did someone make an announcement that all you need to be on creatine now? Yeah, I'd love to know from your side.
So, I mean, we've definitely seen it, like that more people are interested in our creatine.
Cool.
I would say overall as a category, I know in 2024, there was a 40% year-over-year growth. Like that's gigantic for any category that companies would be selling 40% more of it. I think the reason why it happened is that there's always trends in health and nutrition, and they're going, low fat, low carb, high fat, like whatever, it's shifting and changing. And there has been this shift towards protein, a lot of interest in protein, but a lot of that I think has been a shift towards muscle and this interest in muscle actually being really important as we age. And it is based on real science. And I think it's one of those trends, fads that's great and that's legit. Like it's not, I'm sure people will be talking less about protein and creatine maybe like 2 or 3 years from now, because there'll be some other story, but I wish they wouldn't, because it's legit.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because muscle is like just so closely correlated to excellent aging. It helps regulate your blood sugar. It improves your metabolism overall. It reduces your chance of falling or getting injured. If you get, sick at any point in time, it's like, again, like you live off these amino acids that are in your muscle. Like it's so clutch for people to live good, active, long lives. And so then naturally it's like, well, supplements that relate to them become popular. So protein powders become popular, more popular again. Essential amino acids become popular, and creatine becomes popular. So actually one other trend I think that's interesting in this whole realm too of like this growth of muscle is at the same time, GLP-1s for weight loss became really popular. And they became really popular. People lose tons of weight, but they lose tons of muscle. And so then muscle becomes further accentuated, not just for longevity purposes, but how it impacts you during weight loss. So creatine is one of the most studied supplements. It is incredibly safe. Like if you look at the data on it, it's like there's like almost no like issues with it. Like very, very few people have some type of distress, like GI distress, but it's very uncommon. And if you buy a higher quality form of it, it's highly unlikely, or you just take a lower dose. And it really doesn't, there's like no other negative side effects to it. So what does it do? So creatine, and the reason why, and we'll get into like why I said maybe aminos might be the first supplement I tell someone to take before creatine, is creatine actually is energy. It's not like this building block. It's actually an alternative form of energy in the simplest terms. So people are probably familiar with like aerobic exercise, anaerobic exercise, like these terms. Maybe you don't know what it means, but it's basically like your body uses oxygen in aerobic exercise to convert like the sugars into ATP. Anaerobic, it's alternative methods. Well, there's actually this other energy system called the phosphocreatine energy system, and it's in the muscle itself. And so what happens is when you are doing really intense exercise, like you're lifting weights or doing pull-ups or sprinting, your body wants energy at the muscle as quickly as possible. Like it just like, give me the energy right now. And the most quick, immediately available energy is from this phosphocreatine energy system. There's actually creatine stored inside the muscles that can really quickly get converted into energy. So when you have more phosphocreatine stores in your muscle, you can exercise a little bit more and a little bit harder. And typically how this gets expressed is if you used to only be able to do 8 pull-ups, you start taking creatine, after a few weeks, you can suddenly do 10 pull-ups. Why can I do 10 pull-ups? Like, how is that possible, right? Literally, it's these creatine stores. And then what happens is from being able to do 10 pull-ups, you actually get stronger. You build more lean muscle. You improve the function of your muscle because you're training it more, right? You're training it 25% more if you go from 8 to 10, right? So that training then supports improved muscle function. So creatine is this thing that like literally makes you train physically better. And then from that, you get healthier and stronger. Now there's a whole list of kind of other like cognitive benefits as well that we can get into. They're also really interesting. But I think, you know, it's got really great underlying science. It really works. And now suddenly muscle is really important to these, what I would say like larger audiences. Before it's like gym bros, bodybuilders. Now it's the 35-year-old young professional woman. It's the 45-year-old mom. It's like, you know, it's like, it's like women start being interested in it, and it's, you know, it's more than half the population now is way more interested in it, and it really is beneficial for them.
God, I remember reading about it in like Muscle magazine in college, and I was at GNC just buying tubs of creatine, and there was like a whole myth that it like ruins your kidneys or something. That was like, I remember I didn't know how to read research back then. But one of the things actually, and I was with my friend the other day, and she was just talking about something, and creatine came up. She's like, "Oh no, I don't take that. It bloats me." Is that true? Does it retain water? Where did that myth come from? Because women are saying, "I don't want to take creatine because it's going to retain water. My face is going to get bloated. My belly's going to get bloated." What's going on there?
So I don't want to challenge your friend and like her own anecdotal experience, but I would say that the literature and looking at many, many people, including many, many women, is that that's not what has happened when studied. So what happens is when you take this creatine, so you get creatine, you can get it from basically like red meat, fish, a few other like animal sources. It's really non-existent in plants. So what I would say is creatine, which actually is it's a good challenge to my answer before. If you're a woman and you're a plant-based diet, I might take, and you are still eating a lot of protein from plants, I might actually do creatine first because you're not getting it in your diet. The bloating. So basically what happens is when you take creatine and more of it goes into your muscle, and with it, it's carried by water. It's accompanied by water. So when you take creatine, it does add some water actually to the inner cellular muscle. So that said, it's really in a short term and longer term, there's been very little of any measurable increased water retention at the side of the muscle. It's not bringing water into your face, into your belly, into like your butt. Like that's just not the way that it works. If anything, it's going to bring a little bit more water into your muscle. But here's a really interesting point too. And I think that's like probably not marketed enough by like creatine companies, specifically to women, is that in all the long-term studies that have been conducted on this, when men take creatine, not only does it improve strength, it also increases muscle size. When women take it, it seems to only really increase strength.
Well, okay.
So it doesn't really increase muscle size even in women. So it's not, I think a whole nother issue of like women being not just concerned about bloating, but maybe like not want to be jacked. Like it doesn't, like it just doesn't really.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot of women who have resistance because they go, well, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. That's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Creatine. So I started taking creatine when I was a vegan. So this is 3 years ago, even 2 years ago. And I still put it in because I know I wasn't getting it in my diet, but I was doing it for my brain.
Yeah.
And now it's
Which
getting
is
hotter.
legit.
More people are talking about it. What's the research behind creatine and how it works in the brain, and how does it work in the brain?
Yeah. So there's a lot, there is a lot of research on creatine in the brain, not as much as in the muscle. So while there's these creatine stores in the muscle, there's also creatine stores in the brain. And in a similar way, creatine is this kind of more immediate energy source. So what it's been shown to support is basically improving memory and focus, specifically in distressed states. So like if you're sleep deprived, and you take a bunch of creatine, you can see improvements in memory and focus during that day. Similarly, in older populations who are starting to there's like a more recent one that's come out around Alzheimer's, but it's like they haven't really shown anything yet. They just show that there's like improvements in like very short-term working memory and like focus. It's kind of the same thing we've seen with everyone else. We haven't seen like a cure for Alzheimer's. And I just name that because I think it's like very exciting for people. But basically older people who also have kind of more cognitive distress as you age and lower functioning, by supplementing with creatine, you can get improved, again, memory and focus. When you look at like broader things like executive functioning, like overall, it doesn't improve. But I mean, some improvements in short-term memory and focus, like I'll take it.
Yeah.
The thing is you need to take a lot more. So I think the studies for sleep, it was like 10 grams. For older adults, it's 20 grams. So that's a lot. That's like 20 grams of creatine per day is 4 times the amount that I typically take.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Like I could see myself doing that as I age as well.
Going up.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I want to like, again, have sustained cognitive functioning as I age, I'm not gonna be able to get it from my diet. I'm not gonna be able to get it from these other things. And it's shown in the literature, it's like, yeah, you can safely and sustainably take 20 grams of creatine per day. Whereas right now it's like, typically I take 5 grams a day, and on days where I didn't get enough sleep, I try to get 8 hours every night. If it's like I have to travel or something's coming up, I only get like 5 hours, I'll take like 10 to 15 grams of creatine that morning.
It's so interesting. So if you don't sleep, you'll take about 15 grams of creatine?
Yeah.
And that's been shown to help your memory and focus that day.
That day.
Anyone who has poor sleep, creatine can be used as a tool.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Today, tomorrow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, we'll go, oh, shoot, man, I didn't sleep well. Something happened or I didn't get to bed. You have a tool downstairs that'll help you get through the day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And this is like super anecdotal, but I've been thinking about it lately. This is the first time I'm verbalizing it. I think I'm always cautious about this too, because I just want to represent like the science, not make it personal. But, I've noticed over the last few years being very consistent with creatine. And other thing, there's a lot of different creatine you can get. There is creatine monohydrate is what you want to get. I'm kind of skeptical of and I think just creatine monohydrate in a powder is what I'd recommend. It's like, if you get that, it can be tested for efficacy. It's like, there's good brands promoting it and doing it. Like you get into like gummies and all these things, like it just, they've come back with like poor testing results on these things.
So there was a report that just came out.
Yeah. Like very like underdosing in these things. And the thing is like creatine doesn't taste like anything. Like if it was some like really obnoxious tasting thing, or it's a very small dose, like people take melatonin in a gummy, it's like 2 milligrams, 5 grams of creatine. Like that's so many gummies to eat. Or you want to eat 20 grams of creatine, you're like an older adult. Like that's like a gigantic bag of gummies. Like I just take the powder. And the last thing I was going to say was there's one version of creatine called Creapure, which is from a German manufacturer. All the other ones come from China. And this version of it is micronized and it's much finer. And I find it people react to it much better. If they have any kind of negative effects, from other creatines, it works really well. That's what we use at Kion. Yeah. And being really consistent with that, and also using it anytime, upping my dose anytime I feel tired, etc. You were asking me earlier about like why I feel like, how do you get to this? What does it feel like to be present or, in your place? Like I really have been much more emotionally stable. I feel like over the last few years, with consistently taking creatine. And I also think aminos are the precursors of our neurotransmitters. Like, man, just like remarkably emotionally balanced. Like just don't have swings, which is a weird thing to say. I almost like knock on wood, man. Like, yeah, but it's like very, very balanced and stable. And I attribute it to like my aminos and my creatine daily intake.
I love that, man. Consistently,
every day, every morning.
Every morning. Yeah. So people viewing, listening, they go, okay, I'm going to do this every day, every morning. How long till I start feeling some sort of shift?
So I think, what I would say is like major shifts, I'd say like 2 to 3 weeks. I'd say like 60 days for sure.
60 days.
Yeah. But what I would say, it's like with aminos, some people feel it right away. Like literally like, and I think this is probably people maybe with neurotransmitter imbalances of some kind, or like they're not eating enough protein, or they're more deficient in those ways. Like you take aminos first thing in the morning, it's like, wow, I feel a lot clearer and more energized and like better.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, there are plenty of people who feel that, like they immediately feel the aminos. Some people not. Some people it's like, takes 2 or 3 weeks and like they're getting body scans or something, or people start noticing like, wow, you look like more tone. You know, it's like,
that's right.
like that's going to take a month, 2 months. Yeah. You don't just suddenly get more tone.
That'd be great.
That's a little bit longer. And then with creatine, I think for the actual impacts where you like can do 2 more pull-ups than you used to be able to do, it's going to take about 3 weeks. Whereas on the other hand, if you were sleep deprived today and you took 2 servings of creatine, you might really feel better than you felt yesterday when you were sleep deprived and didn't take creatine. So there's like acute effects that you could feel the day of, but I think the big effects are like longer term. You start taking it and it's like anything in life. There's no like get rich quick, get fit quick. Like you commit to things daily for a while, and then they start to stack and you get momentum, and you know, it goes with what I was saying earlier about being patient.
Yeah. I've taken so many types of creatine in my life, but you know, I noticed that yours was Creo Pure, the Kion one.
Yeah, and
it's powdery. The other one feels
fine.
Like super grainy, you know.
Yeah,
and you kind of mix it and kind of gotta chug it because it's like so gritty. But the purity of like it's just, I don't know, it's powdery. I noticed, and once I saw it, I researched it. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, what's Creo Pure? What's the difference between this and the other one? So, I mean, it's like the cleanest one right now.
It's the cleanest one.
It's the cleanest one.
Yeah.
So here's my favorite one. I like both your amino acids that you guys make. I mean, sorry, the whey protein. I like both. The chocolate one is my favorite.
Yeah, I like the chocolate one too.
The chocolate one is nice, man. So I just this morning did a chocolate, put a little banana, just a little bit of peanut butter. You know, I was feeling like I wanted something cold, so I put a little ice in it. That was my morning drink before the gym.
That's great.
And it just hits all the time. Post-workout, I'll do it sometimes too, if it's a really heavy workout. And I noticed that you guys go grass-fed, clean, you third-party test. What could be problematic if we go to you and me, GNC right now, and we find a company that just has like protein powder, whey protein powder, those big buckets that I used to use in college. How is it problematic to my health? Isn't just whey protein, and it has the amino acids and it has the amino acids. Does it matter about the quality?
That's a good question. So a couple things. First of all, I'll just say is grass-fed can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And our team has literally submitted and asked for, you know, information from other companies, et cetera, who say like, make different types of claims, like 100% grass-fed. I can tell you there's a couple providers that have like the highest quality grass-fed whey protein isolate. And even that is like near 100%. But what happens is they can't promise it because sometimes like they're running these, the cows are totally open out in the fields, but sometimes it gets really cold and they have to give them, you know, some corn at different times. It has to be non-GMO, et cetera. There's all these other rules, but there are people out there that will advertise as if something has a certain level of something and it's simply like not true.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and that's kind of unfortunate because I think, you know, there is legitimacy though to also like manipulative marketing where people say grass finished.
Yeah.
which is a real thing. Like you could like, yeah, have people have these cows on a field forever. And then like at the very end, just like load them up with corn. And it's more like, what's the integrity of like what's going on behind it? And so what I would just say is there's plenty of brands out there that are cheaper brands that say grass fed and even say 100% grass fed.
Yeah.
And they're about 60% grass fed.
That's wild. Because you and I can go to GNC right now. I promise you we'll find something grass fed.
Yeah, and I promise you that if there's like multiple brands and there's different price points, they're not in the high 90s or 100% grass fed.
So
like
there's 60%, we'll say.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I won't call it other brands, but like I know where it's like it's like 60%, and they're saying it's the absolute. Yeah, so that's just like a bummer, man. And it's like, but that is so. I would just say like. I'm not saying like, oh, well, buy the more expensive thing. It'll definitely be the better thing. But it's like, there's a reason if someone can like undercut prices or do something like that. It's because they're using a far inferior product.
Yeah.
And then the question would just be like, okay, well, I'm actually going to answer now so grass fed versus, not grass fed. I think from the actual impacts on muscle protein synthesis, from, a grass-fed whey protein powder versus a non-grass-fed whey protein powder, I don't think there's really observable impacts. I think there's other issues and questions though around what else those animals were exposed to in terms of antibiotics. And ideally that's all getting filtered out through this whey processing, but I don't think that's always the case. And the amount that these animals are eating these plants, they actually can get a lot of heavy metals, etc. So I think some of the concerns would be actually from eating corn or eating other types of materials that they're getting. They're actually quite high in heavy metals. You could be getting, you might be getting the same protein synthesis, but you're getting heavy metals and other types of chemicals you don't necessarily want in your diet. And like that's stuff that I don't want in my diet. And that can be debated elsewhere about like whether I'm overreacting about that or not. But like I try to stay away from antibiotics, hormones, and unnecessary pesticides that, could be carcinogenic or affect my body in other bad ways. The other thing I just named though too, it's like, so one big thing is there's whey protein concentrate and there's whey protein isolate. And if you've tried whey protein in the past and your tummy kind of hurt from it, I'm willing to bet it was whey protein concentrate.
Yeah.
And what concentrate is it's like they literally just skim the whey off of the milk in a cheese making process. Whereas the whey protein isolate, they take that whey protein concentrate and they do a further cold filtration process where they remove the lactose and they remove all the extra fats and they remove other sugars. So it's a more purified version of just the protein that's like 99.9% lactose free, and like basically very few people have any type of reaction to it. So I think that's another thing too. If one seems a lot, a whey protein concentrate is not the same as a whey protein isolate. It's also the whey protein isolate is much lower in calories relative to the amount of protein that you're getting.
Yeah. For me, it's bloating with the concentrate, and it feels like I have phlegm in my chest, and it's pretty quick. Like I remember I had two. I haven't had whey protein in a long time, and not from now in my life. And then I started it last year. And I've been consistent with it. But when I started with a concentrate. And then I was like, damn, I can't take whey protein. I knew it. Like, this is why I stopped in like 2008, But
once you did the Kion isolate.
Once I did the Kion isolate.
Like zero problems, right?
There was zero problems.
Isn't that crazy? It's like.
So I switched because I didn't have the Kion one at that point. And
it is like, it's literally the most premium grass-fed whey protein isolate that you can get with like no other additives really. It's like it's organic flavor system. Like it's like
it's the top.
Yeah, I mean it's clean.
It's clean. So, and I can attest to that because I am super sensitive to anything. I know even when I go out to eat, I'm like, oh shoot, like there's something off about it wasn't good quality.
That's how I am too, man. Like I can't even really go out to eat that much anymore.
Tough.
Like I can like just tell like if it's not just like a seed oil thing. It's even if like they recooked oils or like,
you can tell
like some weird,
love,
and like quality of the food is just not, I'm pretty sensitive.
Yeah. And I've been having the chocolate and the vanilla pretty much every day, every other day, multiple times a week since last year. Zero symptoms, no bloating, which is like, that would be the first thing. No phlegm in my chest. And I feel good. Like it's not reacting. And I took actually MRT test. You ever do one of those tests?
No.
It's they test the inflammatory mediators, not your immune antigens, how they're reacting to the food, which are the intolerance tests and the food tests. They're not always accurate, but actually, like, if they're exposed to this food, is it causing inflammation? Are there inflammatory mediators? And whey was low for me. The whey was low for me. So I was like really happy to see that. But man, it's been like pivotal. We're talking so much about protein. I didn't even ask you, how much protein should someone take? How much protein? Like, if we want to be physiologically just not having our body utilizing our muscle for protein, what level is that? And then what level is like, you know what? I want to put on some muscle. I'm hearing this podcast with Angelo, and he's telling me I'm getting older. I need to put on some muscle. What level is that?
So I'm going to give age-based guidance first, and then we'll do the muscle. And what I would just say is it's a whole nother thing if we want to talk about weight loss.
Which we're going to get into.
Which I think is interesting. Yeah. So what I would say is if you are, basically there's this thing called the recommended daily allowance that came, over 50 years ago. And they did it from these nitrogen balance studies. They actually see how much nitrogen's left like in your excrement and stuff. It's super gross studies, but it's super outdated and it doesn't make any sense now. So what I would say is to not have major health issues across all age demographics, the real science shows it's at least 0.6 grams of protein per pound of body weight. The old guidance is like 0.4, but that's just, I don't think that's accurate at all. I think it's about 0.6. And that's like, so you don't have hair, skin issues, organ, like you're not trying to get like really fit or anything, but that's kind of the minimum. And so that would be like, if you weigh 100 pounds, that'd be 60 grams of protein per day. And I just do the simple 100 pounds because it's like easy math everyone can get. If you are, what I would say though is like, as you get older, I would be increasing that. So what I would say is like, by the time you are 40, 0.7, 0.8 grams, by the time you're 50, 1, and I would keep increasing like 0.1 to 0.2 grams of protein kind of each decade after that. You could, instead of that, replace it with more essential amino acids. Yeah. That's kind of, I'm saying like whole food protein. If you take something like an essential amino acid supplement, again, it's going to be the equivalent of 5 times as much whey protein.
Yeah.
So it's like one scoop is like 25 grams of protein. So you could probably stay at the lower levels and keep going up. If you really want to build lean muscle, again, like I'd be adding probably 0.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, kind of wherever you're at. So it's like if you're like in your 20s, at least 0.8, but you could probably be going up to like 1. If you're 40, like maybe more, like definitely over 1 gram of protein. So it's just kind of like age is one factor that's contributing to how much protein you should eat. And then if you're trying to train and get bigger, like it's another. So, is that guidance clear enough?
Yeah. It's what I'm hearing is just that the older we get, the more protein we need. We should be cognizant of it. We should be combining it with amino acids more and more as we get older, basically, because we're breaking down.
So if you're 30, like I'd aim for 0.6 to 0.8. If you really want to train, go for a gram. And if you're 40, at least 0.8, and you got to be taking a gram if you're trying to train and get bigger. And I, as much more as you want. I mean, no one's going to be eating like 2 grams of protein, but like if you can get in 1.2, that's great.
I wish we had like on the visuals, I could put a picture up of my pops, because in the past year, he leaned out and he put on like good muscle. Like I'm surprised he's 75.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's awesome, man.
And he's consistent. He's got the creatine, the aminos, and the protein. The creatine, the aminos, and protein. He's just every single day and going to the gym. When like you're older, like you spend a lot of time in the gym because all your friends are there.
Yeah.
That's his like social hour.
That's
too.
Awesome. What a cool like community. Transition for him and community. Yeah.
Yes. It's awesome. But like, so your community is at the gym. So you're forced to go to the gym and also work out. So it's fantastic.
So in older adults, like literally just to validate what the anecdote that you just shared, but with real studies, like in 3 months, 60-year-old women taking aminos basically twice a day. It was bigger servings, 10 grams twice a day. They put on an average of like 2.5 pounds of muscle in 3 months, not doing any additional training.
Wow. Wow.
We're not doing any additional training. So you think about that for your dad. He does that over the course of a year. He's being consistent. Maybe he's not taking that much aminos, but he's even taking it once or twice a day in smaller doses. But he's doing it for a year. Like you would add 5 pounds of muscle. Like it's not 5 to 10 pounds of muscle. Like it's not out of the world.
Oh, now I got to tell my partner's mom then, because she's on the creatine now, but I got to tell her to get on the aminos. Because she's 55.
Yeah, for lean muscle.
Active.
Yeah.
She's always she does tons of walks. She has a weighted vest. So I want her to get on that too. Yeah. Weight loss. Weight loss. Is there a role in aminos for weight loss? What role does protein play in weight loss? I know we talking about the GLP-1 and the Ozempics of the world, they're losing weight, but they're losing muscle. A lot of people, I mean, that's the hottest thing. You talk about lose 10 pounds. People are like, oh, I'm listening. I can lose 10 pounds. But what role does all this have to play with that?
So I'll just say, like, all the guidance I just gave about protein, everything else we talked about is assuming that you're not trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, it becomes even more important. And so this is the way it works. The way our bodies are really cool. And body fat, which people tend to not like, is actually this really cool tool that our bodies have where if we're exposed to a lot of food, we can eat that food and we can store the energy for later. So if over the next 2 days, we can't find an animal to hunt, we can't find any plants to scavenge, like we actually have stored fat in our body to live off of. It's a very neat tool that we were given, right? The thing is that like now we have tons of food. We can eat as much as we want whenever we want. So we end up storing all this excess fat we don't want. So what happens is I think the fundamental way that you lose weight, that the actual scale will go down, is to consume less total calories in a day than you burn in a day. So again, like if I consume 500 calories less today than my body needs just to beat my heart, do all those things, walk here, etc., then I'm going to burn some of my existing fat in my body to live off of. Unfortunately, what also happens though is you oxidize muscle. And the reason for that is because when you go into caloric restriction, number one, you kind of kick off this stress response, similar to like the anabolic resistance that happens as we get older. When you get older, your body's like, I'm not going to use this protein for like muscle. It's like, I got other things to focus on. Or if you get injured, that's another thing where people lose a lot of muscle. This anabolic resistance comes up. Same thing. When you cut calories, your body is under stress and it doesn't use the protein as much to build muscle. And instead it uses more of the protein, converts it into sugars to use as energy, and just doesn't even use as much of it in general. On top of that, then because you don't have enough amino acids to help support your heart, your liver, all these other things, you start breaking down muscle to support the rest of your body function. So if you do a short-term aggressive weight loss, like where I'm like, I want to lose 10 pounds fast, you'll probably lose about 6 pounds of fat and 4 pounds of muscle. If you do a longer, more sustained weight loss journey for those 10 pounds, it could be a little bit lower. It could be like 3 pounds of muscle and 7 pounds of fat. You could reserve a little bit more muscle. And really the idea is the more aggressive that you are with your caloric restriction, the higher the stress response and the less utilization you get from the protein to help build and maintain your muscle, et cetera. So I think that's like the big idea. Like you're trying to lose weight and you just got to know like, oh man, I'm not just burning fat, I'm burning muscle in a way. The thing is, I don't think anyone wants that. Like no one's like, and I'll just give you this example. Like if in the next, 10 weeks, you lost 10 pounds of fat and lost no muscle, it's going to be like pretty noticeable, man. You're going to look like that much more ripped, right? Whereas if you lost 6 pounds of fat and 4 pounds of muscle, like you're gonna look a little leaner, face a little different, but you won't look like cut the same way, right? And the same thing's true for women. Like that tone look that people are looking for, it's not just weight loss. It's not just what the scale says. It's that you lose the fat and you maintain the muscle and maintain some of the muscle definition, et cetera. So the question is like, well, is there anything that can help with this? Aminos can help in an almost unbelievable manner. And so there's a series of studies. It's actually the University of Arkansas, which a lot of this research comes out of. They're really attached to the medical school there, but they got a bunch of funding to do a lot of studies for the Department of Defense over the last few years. And so this is working actually with younger people in the military, in the Army, right? So it's not like some clinical population. This is like healthy young people, right? And they would try these different types of caloric restrictions, 30%, 40%, 50%, meaning if today I need 2,000 calories to maintain my current weight, if I cut that by 30%, it would mean I eat 600 calories less today, right? And if I eat 600 calories less today, what they uncovered is that I would need to consume 3 times the amount of essential amino acids. So that could be 3 times the amount of steak, or 3 times the amount of whey protein, but really more ideally 3 times the amount of even just Kion amino acids in order to maintain a net muscle balance. So it's a lot more. Like, you have to consume way more of this thing if you don't want to lose muscle. Otherwise, you're going to lose muscle. And what they found, though, is if you supplement with these amino acids, and my general advice would be, and that's like a relatively aggressive cut, but not that aggressive. It's like a little over a pound a week of weight loss you're aiming for. If you were to start taking Kion amino, say 2 servings, 10 grams twice a day, or 15 grams twice a day, it kind of depends on how much weight you're trying to cut and the rest of the protein you're eating, you could potentially, and they've seen this happen, lose no muscle. You could lose only 10 pounds of fat and lose no muscle. And it's absolutely 100% possible. So if you don't do that, you're going to lose muscle and you're going to lose fat. And so why does that matter? Again, like, there's the obvious immediate vanity thing I was just talking about. But the other thing is, the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. Because your fat doesn't require calories to maintain it. It is just stored calories. Your muscle is this active tissue that's used to move your body around. So literally, if you replace 5 pounds of fat in your body right now with 5 pounds of muscle, your resting metabolism, how many calories you just burn sitting there, goes up.
Wow.
On top of that, every time you do weight training or exercise or walk or do anything, it goes up even more because you have more muscles that you're having to move around, and more of these muscles have to be replaced. Like, the proteins have to be replaced, which is energy intensive. So I just say, it's like, if you want a really clear, obvious tool for sustainable weight loss and sustainable improvement in your body composition, it is aminos.
Wow. How did I never know? That's incredible. It seems to me that everyone who is going or wanting to lose weight, going on a weight loss journey, they should be taking aminos to preserve their muscle.
You're going to preserve a lot more muscle.
It's important.
You're going to preserve a lot more muscle, and you're going to have a much more sustainable long-term maintenance of that. Because the risk of not doing it is that you lose those 10 pounds and 4 pounds of it is muscle. It's hard to get those 4 pounds of muscles back. So when you do the yo-yo diet thing, that you really aggressively cut calories and don't let yourself eat these things that you love or whatever. And then you kind of break down a few months later, and then you start eating them again. Well, when you put back on that weight, you don't put back on the muscle unless you have a really good consistent resistance training, you're eating enough protein, et cetera. So it's just, I would say it's, you're not going to get what you want.
It's incredible. I didn't know it goes up to 4 pounds of muscle, even for some more, right? Like, when we talk about Ozempic, if someone loses 10 pounds, how much of that is muscle, you think?
So they actually have studied this long term. So in these longer term studies where people reduce their total weight by 20%, it ends up being high 20s, around 30% is muscle.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's not that it's more like the 3 pounds. It's 2.6 to 3 pounds. And that's because it is, initially they're losing a lot more muscle. I think if you looked at the first month, actually, you typically lose a lot more muscle. And then over the longer period of time, it's a lower percentage.
Damn, I have a friend who's on it and she lost a lot of muscle. She's skinnier for sure.
Yeah.
She just looks smaller, but I was like, damn, she was muscular. Naturally.
Yeah.
So it's just wild because.
And does she wish she had the muscle?
That's longevity. I don't think she cares. She's not in the fitness world.
Yeah.
Or health and wellness. She's more in the vanity aesthetics.
Yeah.
So skinny is skinny.
Yeah.
But for me,
but it's funny. It's skinny, but and I guess everyone has their own aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
Like super skinny or
super skinny
or tone, like yoga, Pilates, swimsuit.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a healthier skinny.
Yeah.
It's a healthier skinny.
Yeah.
Man, you got me remembering that I need to take 2 scoops a day, not 1. You got me all amped up, and I'm like, okay, what have I been doing? I've been slacking now, so I got to get back on it. Is there anything that Kion is developing that maybe you can talk about coming down the pipeline, or anything exciting coming up that we can look forward to?
You know, I love this question because it's always kind of like the same boring answer. Like, man, we're just really committed to doing what we're doing now really well. We're not like trying to hit the new thing and do that. It's like, I really believe, and then there's other products we have that you and I haven't talked about, but it's like what are like supplements that are actually worth people's time and money, and how do you make those really well? And it's like, man, it takes a lot of time and energy to make a really good protein powder, a really good creatine, a really good amino acids. We also have, I think, the highest quality omega-3 fish oil you can get.
Yeah, you got the omega.
You know, it's like, we have super clean coffee, but some people are like, why do you have coffee? And it's like, well, this is something people drink every day. It is a part of people's health. And it's like, there's a way of doing it better. So it's like just doing those things as well as we can possibly do them at the highest clean premium, level. It's like, it's given us enough to do.
What's the coffee like? What do you
like? Why is the coffee important?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I guess the basic story on like coffee, and I'm like big coffee.
You're a big coffee
I
guy.
love coffee. Yeah. It's funny. People are like, why'd you start this company? It's like, my mom was like obsessed with coffee and aminos when I was a little kid. So it's like, I don't know, man. I'm just
Mama knew.
fulfilling my mom's dream. But to get a really consistent, premium, pesticide-free, doesn't have mold, doesn't have other weird stuff in it, coffee that tastes awesome, takes actually a lot of work. So what we do, this is like our process to get there, is we only source from very specific farms that not only are organic and specialty grade at the farm, but they also have machine dryers. And so a machine dryer, basically, when you're drying these, especially in organic, it'll be certified at the level of the farm itself, and it basically means it's a certain quality of the beans. Like you have to not have a certain amount that have issues with them, and that could be weird growth things, or look weird, smell weird, etc. And then they have to hit organic standards. But basically, the machine drying ensures that when the green beans are put out, they're put on a machine, that like a conveyor belt type thing that dries all the beans very evenly. Otherwise, they could just lay them on the sacks on the ground, and they can actually develop mold and other types of stuff that's not intended, right? So by you doing that machine drying, you end up with a very clean premium product. But after that, we don't just trust what the farm said or what the certifying body said, because we've seen that an organic certified coffee bean can have pesticides on it. And the reason for that is because the certifying bodies and the testing is not like all the time. Like you think, oh, it's organic, they're testing no, you can't test like
everything.
That farm is not trying to test every single bean that ever comes out of it. I was like, well, we want to, right? Like we do want to test every single lot. And the thing we've seen these organic specialty grade beans get put into conventional bags, like those huge sacks, those huge burlap sacks. So you have an organic bean that gets put in a conventional sack, and now it gets covered in pesticides from the prior beans.
Way.
Yeah. And like, what's crazy is like, I've only been doing the coffee thing for 7-8 years. And it's like, I feel like we discovered this issue because we're testing not only original samples we get, we're testing from each lot, we're testing from all these bags. Like we're making sure there's all this testing going on for pesticides, for mold, for any type of other, issue that would be in that coffee. And then we also test at the roasting facilities after the coffee is roasted, because we found issues with like people cleaning with chemicals on the machines, right? So we basically have, super high quality, especially organic beans with these machine dryers from very select locations. We don't advertise it, but for coffee heads, it's all single origin. It's like, it's sick coffee. It's awesome. Because it's marketed more like health, but it's like all really refined single origin. And then we just do, a really delicate roasting process that brings out these like really unique flavors in it. So we have a dark roast, a medium roast, a light roast, and we test at every single stage. So it's like, it's hyper clean, health, single origin, dank coffee.
Amazing.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't know that, and I never sent you coffee before.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you guys. I didn't even know you guys had coffee, man. That's amazing. Yeah, dude. Like, oh my god, I'm getting my girlfriend's mom on it. You know, she's a coffee addict, and her husband is too. So we're sending it to you guys too. Yeah, like it's incredible. I love that you really are stringent. I didn't even know about the mixing of the conventional sacks and the organic. I had no idea. The beans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they didn't either. Like, they didn't even think until
Didn't even think about it until
the narcs at Kion.
Yeah, the
like,
narcs at Kion.
are like,
all right, so if you want healthy coffee, if you want top quality coffee, you know where to go to. All right, man. Thank you so much. Where do people go to find all these fantastic products?
all the stuff is at our website, getkion.com, GETKION. And I think there's is it like /DrG?
Oh yeah, /DrG, exactly.
Yeah,
and we'll put it in the show notes. So there'll be a discount for all of you. Heal Thyself listeners, Heal Thyself community. I'm telling you, do 3 months. Just go on the whole cycle. Just go. If you really, really want to build that muscle and drink some good coffee, just go on 3 months, see how you feel, and then come back to it. I guarantee you're going to love it. I've been on you guys for like a year and a half already, man. So that says something. Someone who's really high quality, transparency, purity, and I'm sensitive to what's in there. I feel good, man. Thank you so much for making good products for the world.
Thanks, man. I'll just say too, it's like anyone tries that and they don't like it, just call us. Like, we're real people. Like you can actually call us, talk to us. You can email us. You can get your money back. Like if it's not
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.